We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Bruce Gage,
Here.
Nick Gunderson,
Here.
Rich Litkey,
Here.
Keith Nadowski,
Here.
Shaney Appleby is not here, and Mike Kemp is not here.
Okay. Pledge allegiance, said Mike, led by Mike, but I guess I'll lead it. Please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And now we'd like to approve the minutes from the special council meeting of April 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve the special council meeting on August 15th.
Do you want to do all
Common
of them?
council?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna do them all. Common council, and the special council on September 1st as well.
I'll second it.
Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And citizen appearances. We've got Weyauwega School District here. Mr. Black, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Council, for having us over this evening. Before we get into the presentation, two people I'd like to introduce as well that are here to answer questions, support, talk about the topic. Stephen Nehams is our business manager for the school district, and board member Debbie Bartle is with us as well. And first and foremost, while we're in a great space before council meetings and community, and Patrick brought me up here this morning when we loaded up the PowerPoint and the video, and you guys did an awesome job recreating the space, so good work for our city. So this evening, I want to be as efficient as I can, all right, but thoroughly answer the questions that do come up and present the work of our Board of Education and our school community over the past several years. In 2013, our district started the process of reviewing our strategic plan and identifying key items which we felt were important for the integrity of our district going forward, you know, to retain and be effective and present a quality education to all of our community members in Weyauwega and Fremont and our surrounding townships. Out of that, there are some priorities that came forward that we felt deserved a little more focus and necessary attention to ensure just what I had mentioned. One of the items was a detailed look at our facilities and grounds and how we educate children today, and more importantly, what is it going to be in the future as we go forward. So from that, the board engaged into a facility study with ATS&R, an architectural firm out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, came in and basically tore down all of our facilities through an analysis form and protocol to see how we're currently utilizing space, the age, the condition, and then how we instruct educationally with our students today. Long story short, they came back with a report, and at that report there were several items that were identified as potential areas to focus on. The image which you're looking at is just a rendering of a lot of hours, a lot of person hours and work and ideas as to what could be for Weyauwega Fremont High School, with some updates and remodeling within our current high school facility. And then as well, I'll mention some ideas for Fremont Elementary and some security upgrades.
Your button working?
Is forwarded on the next one.
Okay.
Okay. So as mentioned, the three items that we covered, it was a facility study, educational analysis, and the third part was a community engagement. What I want to do is I want to set the tone as to what was done, as to where we ended up, so it makes sense as to this isn't just a one process thought idea with our referendum question that came forward. Out of that community engagement process, they were empowered to take all the information from the various studies in the strategic plan and put together some options for our board to consider. Now, these are just options. These weren't mandates. They were options to say, hey, you should think about this. Have you thought about that? This is what might make our community better and school district a great place as it already is, and even better. Okay? One more. There we go. So out of that came some prioritized areas of focus. The first couple up on top, upgrades to the HVAC or heating and cooling. If you've been in our district, you know our middle school was built in '91. That's a air-controlled building with AC. Other areas of our district are not. There's isolated components, but overwhelmingly it's not a controlled environment as far as air quality. Updates to our district bathroom facilities, items that get used continually over the years of our years of service. Our high school is 46 years old, and during that time, not a lot of significant upgrades to the bathroom facilities other than the maintenance effort on maintaining them. Curb appeal, first impression, signage, security, furniture, science lab spaces. Are we able to address the needs, the hands-on exposures that students need in classrooms? Can we develop a curriculum and a space to help support 21st century skill sets? Do we have that ability? And then the last one was updated physical education settings. So out of this, the board said we're going to attack 3 items. Oh, go back one more. Or go back one more. Oh, we're missing one there. Okay, go ahead. All right, they're going to address 3 items. Okay, they're going to address HVAC items district-wide. They're going to address safe, secure entries within our district, and they were going to focus on our high school and potential additions to improve that space. So out of the summary, the community brought forth 6 recommendations for the consideration. The first was to remodel, repair all schools, every building the district owns, at a cost of $24 million. That was option 1. Okay, option 2 is to demolish part of the high school, part of Weyauwega Elementary, close Fremont Elementary, high school additions, remodel, repair to the middle school, additions, repair to Weyauwega Elementary, and consolidate elementary schools. Cost of approximately $43 million. Option 3 was to demolish all the high school, new high school, remodel, repair of the current middle school, addition, repairs to Weyauwega and Fremont Elementary schools. Both buildings would remain open and would serve the communities in the elementary, $38.5 to $45 million to accomplish that task. Okay.
This is number 4.
Yep. Yep. Option. Oh, keep going. Option 4: demolish the high school, both elementary. Demolish both high school, or the high school, and both elementary. Okay. And then new elementary school in Weyauwega, and then consolidate Weyauwega and Fremont, $44 to $50 million to accomplish that task. Option 5: demolish both elementary schools, build a new high school, move the elementary students into the current middle school students to the high school. Okay, repair, remodel the current middle school and high school, consolidate elementary schools, $41 to $47.5 million. Then the last option that was presented: do not do much, repair some items, and fix the most critical items as they come up. Okay, next one. So, out of that came 3 items for that focus: the HVAC, heating and cooling, safe, secure entries, and improvements to the high school with remodeling additions. Thus, now we have a focused area where we wanted to put our efforts. This past summer at the elementary school, we completed approximately $1.3 million HVAC update to our elementary school to bring in a new boiler system, a new VAV forced air system, conditioned air, made some significant improvements to the classrooms and learning spaces within, and we're able to do that independently by ourselves with the funds that the district has planned for to make those improvements. Okay? So in front of you, this is the hard work of many people from our community and our board to present an idea for the community to respond on via referendum question. The areas here, I'm just going to quickly go through because I want to show the video and it's going to ultimately give some insight when you watch this video. Areas for addition are in green, remodeling is in red, okay, and then the yellow are existing spaces, but they're taking on just a different look where we're creating more open space, kind of like in here, where the traffic flow ventures and you don't have the narrow hallways and the locker settings, which we currently know. If you notice up there, number of classrooms, what we currently have, and what you're looking at are approximately the same. All right, we're removing classrooms in the interior of the building, and then we're adding them to the science wing in the top part. We have Project Lead the Way, Agri Science, Bio, and Chem. All right, we're completing a multi-purpose gym area and facility training area and a weight room area on the east end, which would look for us to phase out of the old middle school when appropriate with the space that we're currently utilizing. And then on the bottom of the sheet, it's the addition of an auditorium, which would take care of our current auditorium where our student cafeteria, student commons area is, improving that area significantly for not only our students but our community as well. Areas in red are existing classrooms that would receive a significant facelift to bring them up to the standards in which we look for when instructing classroom instruction. Okay. Just again, a little step back, looking down at this idea. Now some of the pictures and ideas make a little more process through. Safe, secure entry at the high school, the auditorium. Safe, secure entry. You can see the raised roof within, which would be the auditorium, or excuse me, the commons area. In relationship, you'd have our multi-purpose gym and the STEM to the north and to the west. Okay. Down at Fremont Elementary, we're also targeting some improvements within that building. Building established in the 1930s with additions throughout time. In the rephase of the building, our current office is located in the interior of the building, and you can see as to proximity to where that is in relationship to where the entrances is. The entrance just to the left of it that goes out on the Wolf River Ave is not a really accessible entrance due to lack of parking and the traffic flow in Wolf River Ave. The primary points of entry are on the east end on James Street, and then on the south side, just to the left of the current gym, you'll see a entry there, but that's in our playground blacktop area where bus loads in the community. It's not our designated load spot. So that east entry is our targeted space to improve an entry to our building, just a safe, secure entry so that we're looking at the people coming out. You know, this building here, when they went through your upgrades, I'm sure that was a very important part of noting who was coming in and out in the process to enter that building. The same theory and processes would apply at Fremont. Got one more with that. And this is just a rendering of what it could like, if those of you familiar with the area, and Wolf River Ave and James Streets, a bump out that would show that space configuration and how it would be utilized at Fremont Elementary. So one more, let's see if we got one more. Yep, okay. So the next thing is the video, all right? And this video was produced to give somebody that may not know a lot about the project or the ideas of what we're looking to accomplish, and at the end of the video have a strong understanding, maybe have a question or two, you know, which could be asked, and then by the completion of it, know what the question represents and how the funds would be utilized by the district to improve education district-wide. So it's about 14 minutes, so I appreciate your time and understanding the question. School district. In 2014, our Board of Education carried out a district facility study, educational analysis, and community engagement process to better understand the current aspects of our district operations. The Weyauwega Fremont Board of Education is now asking our community on Tuesday, November 8th, 2016, to vote on a proposal to improve the security and learning spaces at Weyauwega Fremont High School and to improve security needs at Fremont Elementary School. The needs identified in this referendum were created by a community engagement process and the school board after extensive investigations regarding repair and betterment of existing buildings and with the input from staff and students regarding student learning spaces and the need to fit today and tomorrow's curriculum. One of the improvements recommended with the upcoming referendum is to increase our size and space configurations and our science instructional spaces. In our biology room, you notice that we have limited space, and it is original layout from 1969. It's time to evolve and create new learning spaces for curriculum and instruction that present the methodologies that support how instruction is delivered today. Within our chemistry lab and instructional area, we lack the spacing to appropriately accommodate our student. Must be.
A little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
Is everybody following it okay? I mean, the sound is pretty good. Otherwise, I've got my computer, it's running full on my computer here. We had a little bit of a hang up with IT today. But, I mean, I can even set it up here too if anybody wants to watch on the computer here. Otherwise, if we keep going, is that going to work?
Keep going. Just keep going. It's fine.
Non-traditional seating area has been established to meet the instruction during our class-to-class instruction. Ideally, lab stations would be available for all students that they'd be able to take in instruction in an appropriate environment.
All right, so the 6 boilers you see here take care of heating in a high school. These are the second set of boilers that we've had here since the building's been new. The first set lasted approximately 20 years. and we're approaching 30 years with this current 6. We have boiler number 1 here is out of commission already. So we'll be looking to upgrade these old inefficient boilers to some new high efficiency models. So this is one of the 15 air handlers that we have here in the high school. This one currently doesn't work. So this unit would take care of providing heat and ventilation to our commons cafeteria area. So this is also one of the upgrades that would come with this referendum. So essentially our HVAC system is 30 years old right now, and we'd be looking to upgrade the whole thing and go to high efficiency boilers and all new air handlers, giving us better efficiency and better climate control as well as air quality.
Within our metals technology classroom, we look to improve the space configurations and equipment that our students work with on a daily basis, and the need to give our students an experience with technology and metal fabrication is continually changing. The attempt and need to support an updated metals lab would allow our students opportunities to compete in today's job force and as well move on to higher ed with background and skill sets ready to take on the challenges that industry asks for today. Improvements are recommended within our instructional area, in our technology education department, in our woods shop as well, to create greater space configurations so that students have more space, creating safer environments to work on projects and for instructor-led demonstrations. Again, being able to meet the needs of industry as we move forward, we want to prepare our students with hands-on experiences which will allow them to step into the workforce and find success early on in their careers. One recommendation with the referendum proposal is the addition of science classrooms adjacent to our current technology education classrooms. Science classrooms which would be supported in this area would be basic science, chemistry, physics, biology, agri-science, and most recently we're adopting Project Lead the Way curriculum, which will help support engineering skill sets to our students as they prepare for future endeavors and workforce opportunities. Within this environment, we would develop a common space between the science classrooms and the technology education classrooms, which would allow for group discussion, hands-on demonstration, and a collaboration area that would allow students to take practices and knowledge from the classroom into the clean lab environment and as well apply it in the lab settings. Now within our current physics classroom, although it is meeting the instructional piece of delivery from teacher to student, the lab space is is very much constricted within the confines of this room with limited space for hands-on experience. The instructional level which takes place here within physics is high-level instruction where hands-on and often that experience of applying that knowledge is necessary for students to comprehend and truly know what they are learning in their classroom experience. With the remodel of this classroom, we'd be able to enhance our space configurations within, and as mentioned earlier, the configuration with the new addition of science classrooms and the proximity would allow for a great avenue of instructional learning as well as the ability to apply it in spaces that are adequate for learning. The footprint of our auditorium is original to 1969. Currently we're set up for a summer play, and as you can see around, our lighting trees and our sound fixtures are not part of the actual auditorium. Everything is portable, everything is brought in. The portable lighting trees create potential hazards for our students and our spectators as they take in an event just due to the proximity and the location of where we have to utilize the space configurations. Our stage area presents opportunities, but it does have limited fly space and storage behind for sets and ultimately the storage of our equipment and needs for future productions. Currently, the auditorium does not have air conditioning, which makes performances at times very trying, especially in the summer when we put forth our summer musical for our students and our school community. Going forward in the recommendation, the 400-seat auditorium is presented for the community to share their intentions for, which would be a standalone facility attached to the high school that would allow for appropriate accommodations for our students, not only for students, but our community as well, creating an environment in a theater setting which showcases our students and their talents and their ability in the performing arts. recommended for the referendum on November 8, 2016 is the addition of a new agri-science classroom and lab space configuration. Our current configurations are meeting the needs of our students, but the quarters are quite tight within our aquaculture and our hands-on lab experiences that the students take in. Instructional space is necessary and needed for students to thoroughly understand and comprehend the directives and instructions in which our teachers are giving them. Our current greenhouse-based configuration, as you can see, is very limited with space. Our ability to instruct within this area is limited to very confined areas, and more importantly, the efficiencies of this greenhouse aren't set forth to the standards which are required in instruction and growing practices which our students are learning about today. With the upcoming referendum question, the addition of the relocating agri-science to the STEM wing down by our technology education classrooms, a new greenhouse would be built to support and enhance our offerings within agricultural instruction for our students. Recommended for improvements through the referendum would be remodeling of both of our boys and girls locker room configuration. Current locker room spaces are outdated and in dire need of improvement and repair. More importantly, ventilation needed to keep these areas fresh and clean is lacking. Improvements to our HVAC system would ultimately support that ability to maintain proper environments within both the boys and girls locker room. Recommended for improvements to our district is to address our current weight room facility located within the high school. Current configurations, as you can see, are very narrow as equipment is stacked close to each other. Just a pure limit of space inhibits our students to properly train and find themselves in an area which would be appropriate for weight training and other various aspects related to fitness. Our current configuration is a conglomerate of 3 rooms that have been put together through the years with the removal of space limitations to add to our current configuration. Just that alone creates sightline deficiencies for instruction within classroom instruction and team training for our various athletic programs. In addition to potential improvements to our current weight room, the district is seeking approval to create an additional multi-purpose gym which would be located outside of our current weight room facility. The multi-purpose gym would be utilized in many different ways, not only for instructional needs within classroom instruction, but as well as a space for teams, classes, groups, and community to utilize as well. The configuration between the potential new weight room and the multi-purpose room would flow in and out from one another, which would create ideal sight lines for instructions and allow our students to create space parameters when needed. And as well, within that configuration, additional storage would be built in for district needs and a space configuration to accommodate our athletic training facilities for both our students and community that compete for our district. Currently recommended for remodeling and improvements would be our high school gym bleachers. Our high school bleachers are original with construction from 1969 and are necessary to replace at this time. As well, within the gym environment, it's currently not got conditioned area as far as air quality. We're unable to cool the gym down during the summer, spring, and the fall, and at times where temperatures exceed into the 70s and 80s and into the 90s with the inability to cool it down. So with the updated potential HVAC improvements to our district, this is one area that we'd be able to control efficiently to create a climate appropriate environment for different events as they take place.
Hello, I'm Weyauwega Fremont High School Principal Jeremy Schrader, and currently we're standing in our main entrance area that all of our students, guests, and school community come into. One of the goals of our renovation project here is to make for secure and safe entries. And currently our guests and community visitors and our students come in the front doors and they're right into our building. The whole idea and one of the goals to be accomplished would be to establish a second vestibule so that they come in and enter into our office area in which our administrative assistant secretaries will be able to check in with the individuals, have them sign in, receive proper identification, and then upon completing all of those items, they would then be able to pass into our building for the necessary business that needs to take place. So again, a goal here is currently we have one barrier for safety and security. That is original from 1969 when this building was built. Currently, we're standing in the high school cafeteria area in which we have 4 hallways that converse onto the one location. And this is our primary area of serving our lunch to our students of 275 students. Currently, our configuration does not allow us to have all of our students seated in one location. Therefore, we use our study hall room, which is found over here, to have our seniors that eat lunch in there. We look to renovate the area to make traffic patterns more safe and secure, potentially bringing some of the lockers out here to ease up the congestion within our hallways, and also to have that good traffic flow for a comfortable atmosphere to enjoy lunch and breakfast appropriately.
Recommended improvements to Fremont Elementary are proposed to improve the configuration within the current elementary school office. Currently, Fremont Elementary School office is located in the interior of the building. Along with that, creates many deficiencies and security measures which aren't currently meeting our needs as a district. Currently, upon entering in Fremont Elementary, our office secretary would receive notification from an exterior door that a visitor is desiring to enter the building. Upon that, a visual through via camera is then acknowledged and the person is allowed to enter into the building. Proximity to viewing and noting who is exiting and entering the building from the interior of our current building is inappropriate and does not meet our needs. The potential addition of a safe, secure entry at Fremont Elementary would be located on the east end of the building by its current east exit and entrance. Additionally, as well within the office suite would allow for a principal's office, a health aid room, and a needed conference room for both student, staff, and community to meet on occasion when appropriate. The School District of Weyauwega Fremont thanks you for taking time to view this informational video to address the upcoming referendum that will be posed on November 8, 2016. The project inclusive cost is approximately $21 million, which will cover extensive updates in addition to both Weyauwega Fremont High School and Fremont Elementary as previously discussed. For additional information referencing the taxing implications to our school community, please reference our district webpage or contact our district office at your convenience. Thank you for taking time to watch our informational video for the upcoming referendum on November 8, 2016. Right. The handout here is all the information in the streamlined version, if you will, that you can use as a reference, and I'll leave some with Patrick and Becky for the community as well if they so choose to pick that up. And I guess the thought and feel of what was presented tonight. First of all, I apologize for that video. That it's not meant to be like that, and it's not like that. Oh, okay. And I would encourage you, yourself or others, if you want to watch it again on our district webpage. This is loaded up and it's broken into each of the sections appropriately, little 2-minute clips, and that's the all-inclusive version that you got. But share it with others. Tell people, what it is and where to go, and to reference our webpage if they're seeking more information about what this potential successful referendum question would mean to our district. In the couple final slides of the presentation, it talked about the bond referendum and the potential costing and the local impact to our members. Just to review again, the total costing of the resolution was set for $21 million, okay, to address the improvements within our high school, the additions in the noted areas that we've discussed and mentioned, as well as the improvements of safe, secure entry down at Fremont Elementary. The high school projects approximately $20,600,000 and approximately $400,000 for the Fremont addition. On the final page of the handout that you have, just some comments about as a district and as a school community, how we invested into public education compared to our peers. Our district's been very fortunate to manage and lead its financial portfolio with efficiency for the past 15 years plus. The last major capital expansion referendum bond went through in 1991 when this gentleman here led the team to support the building of our, what we still call the new middle school, okay? And it was built in 91. Since then, we had modest additions to the classrooms in the high school in 91 as well, and in 96 we added 2 more, noting that we would have an enrollment spike of around 1,200 students about the year 99, 2000. Since then, our enrollment has declined, as in many rural school communities, to approximately 860-ish, okay? And it's been holding steady for the past 5 years, plus or minus 10 on either side of that. So enrollment-wise, we kind of steadied the ship, if you will, over the past 5 years, and that's what we're predicting to see going forward. And when you look at the footprint of the building, someone may say, how are you adding on when declining enrollment is, or steady enrollments is there? And the answer to that is just we're recreating the spaces. We're taking classrooms that exist, eliminating, creating new classrooms, but the total number is the same. It's just opening up and freeing up some of the spaces within. So compared to our peers, getting back to the tax impact and what we look at as a community, for the past 15 years, our district has been significantly below the state average in funding of public education. Just some comparables to the communities around, and note that in 2010, when we made our last bond payment for the middle school, that became, our district became debt-free. At that time, our district did not choose to go into another project and take on more capital projects. At the time, they said, hey, you know what, we're content with that, and the funds then fell off the mill, and the community has experienced a very attractive mill rate since then. Last year, we were at approximately $8.32 per thousand. If you look at some of our comparative peers around, Weyauwega is at $11.63, Menasha $11.27, New London $10.31. And what's the difference between them and us? Okay, those are districts that have bond projects, capital projects that are being paid off right now. So my question, or my statement to that then, when people drive through and they say, where are the new schools in the area? Well, New London has a new high school, New London, and Weyauwega has a new high school, and you know, those are the places one may think they want to be, but in reality, those buildings are nearing 20 years old already. You know, so what we thought was new back in 99, 2000, as we all know, time flies, and it continues on. So with this potential successful referendum, we would be looking to, you know, build our community from within to support your council, to support the industry that has made a significant investment into the city of Weyauwega and our county, you know, to attract the business, attract the family. And, you know, school's the one thing that we can all relate to. At one time or another, somebody influenced you within a school setting, and some maybe more so than others. But it's a constant drive as people in education that support it, and I'm sure as you as well, that, you know, the next generation starts at home and then they go to school. And we always can't guarantee what's going to go on at home, this day and age. But we can ensure the integrity of a quality education, and that's what this referendum presents, not only for today, but for the next 30 years going forward, as far as the facility. I appreciate your time. This is a lengthy conversation that we could talk for hours if we had the opportunity. But are there any questions that come to you that we could address or answer or find the answers for you as you talk to citizens and maybe in your own opinion?
So you might have just answered my one question.
Okay.
I was looking at this wondering what, you know, you said enrollment is holding steady.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering how long you're anticipating these buildings lasting the city, and you just might have answered it 30
Right.
years plus.
Our goal is to, you know, the current high school is in year 46 of service. Yeah. And right now, if we're able to address some of the structural integrity of it, we've been told that it's going to go another 30 plus years. You know, we can't say if we let it go another 10, what that may look like. You know, then some of those other options we talked about may have to be more of a realistic. But if we can come in right now, make some modest changes within, we're looking for another 30 years of service of that footprint of that building.
Very good. Thank you.
Scott, I can understand what you're talking about. A whole lot of this that people don't want to believe or won't accept is security. And myself being on the county board on the public property, we got the jail and the courthouse.
Right.
It's amazing because that courthouse basically is new, even though it's 15 years old already.
Exactly.
But same thing. Every meeting we got is security, security, security,
Right.
and HVAC.
Yep.
You know, we just unbelievable the savings available.
Right,
on the new equipment.
the efficiencies, right, exactly.
And right now, next Friday, I got a meeting on the entranceway to courthouse.
Mhm.
Security is just, and it's big dollars, and
Yeah.
people don't understand that. And
But,
that's, well, look what's going on in the world today, and it's,
you know, society has kind of dictated how we have to address public places and how we enter and exit them. There's no perfect safe plan for anything, but we've got to take steps to try to ensure as much of that, so absolutely. Yeah, we're not alone in that,
yeah.
in that question.
And basically, the school is always debt-free, hasn't it been?
Since 2010, since 2010, 11, they made their last payment on the, what we call the new middle school at
Okay.
that time. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, that's all I got. Anybody else?
Terrific. Well, I appreciate your time. The train is going to the town of Wolf River right now. This is like appearance 10 out of 17. So we're really working hard to get the word out. And if you know a club or an organization or a person that wants to know more about it, you now have some tools to talk to them. Direct them to the website or direct them to our business office, our district office, and we'd love to have a conversation with them about the opportunities that are out there. So thank you for your time. And Debbie and Drew, thank you for being here. Any questions for Debbie or as a board member? She plays a role similar to yours, public servant at community's beckoning call. You know, that's
Thanks for supporting them, Deb.
all right. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Moving along, we got Frank. Got the floor, Frank.
Thank you. I'll make it short.
Hey.
First of all, there is a book sale at the library and it will continue until Saturday. And if you really like books, magazine or anything, come on Saturday. It'll be $2 for a shopping bag full of books and what have you. Help us out because I'm going to end up having to call the high school and ask for some volunteers to move books from there to someplace else because we have to get books out of there. Okay, then the one negative that I have with OWLS right now, they are going to eliminate the exchange program, and Weyauwega stood in a beautiful situation where we lend out more books and magazines than we bring in. But because of budget cuts and everything else, that part is being eliminated, so we will no longer have between $1,500 and $2,500 a year in the difference on what we loan out versus what we get in, which is something we will be facing and we'll be looking at and see what we can do. Our director has been informed by us as a board, call OWLS and see if there's any way that we can rescind that because that is some money we've counted on. It has helped us pay for the membership in OWLS. Then the only other thing is that OWLS about 20 years ago did a site study for the library, and we're asking them to come back again and redo a site study because if you recall, I've talked about some of the money that we've been trying to save because we are going to have to expand. Like everything else, same question with the schools as with us. Yeah, but your enrollment is going down. True, but we have very, very little space for computers and computer use is going up. So we're going to need to look at, and that's why we're asking OWLS to come in, take a look at our facilities, tell us where we're short, what do we need to address, and how do we best address it. And then also we're asking them to help us, excuse me, to look at the architectural firms that have been with libraries in other areas so that we can proceed from there. That's basically what I have, and I'll put with that one any questions that you have on your end. If not, thank you very much.
Good job, Frank, thank you.
Frank.
Moving on, committee report, Public Works, Bruce.
Motion to approve the A15 pay request number 15 for $25,000 minor construction contingent on lien waiver.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve A15 pay request for $25,000. Myron, any questions?
Just a quick follow-up, so we do have those contingencies yet on lien waivers. That's important because while this is number 15, We just mailed number 13 on Friday, so that gives you an idea that we're about 2 months behind. We also met on site with Cedar Corp today. It sounds like 99.5% of all of the punch list items have been punched out at the treatment plant, where everything is now getting cleaned up. We do have a little bit of a hang up with the new blowers, a little bit of an oil leak. We're talking about whether the manufacturer will warranty those blowers and repair them or just replace them completely. So that's one of the items that's out there yet, but for the most part, everything's coming along very well there. And on top of this, I believe that we still owe probably about $140,000 on a contract, which was about $5.1 million after this $25,000 payment.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you.
Motion approved for recommended repairs and maintenance of the recently equipped city dump truck by Weyauwega County Highway Department for combined estimate amount of $8,389.04.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Approve the repair of the dump truck. Any questions on that? I think we owe Bruce a thank you for taking that truck where he took it and getting the professional help it needed. Thanks a lot, Bruce. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion approval of the waste rate case study for the services for Ellers, $8,500.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. The wastewater case study. Questions?
Yes, it's a water rate study, and if we need to go to the Public Service Commission for a potential rate modification, this would cover Eller services for that too. This is one of the things that popped up in our 2015 review, our audit. We have certain debt covenants where we need to earn a certain profit in the water utility to ensure that we can set aside enough money to pay the debt, reinvest in our equipment. And we did not hit the required profit amount, and what they usually require is that you take a step to address that, and the water rate study is going to cover that, and with related services if needed. So you'll see John Cameron or Phil from Ellers, probably within about a month and a half, 2 months, they'll be back at the Public Works Committee then.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Finance Committee, Keith.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve C15 pay request number 11 for $54,323.27 to IML contingent upon receipt of lien waivers.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve pay request number 11 to IMO. Any questions on that one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, I'll make a motion to approve C15 pay request owner direct purchases for $11,364.21.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to pay owner direct purchase materials. Questions? That one saves us a lot of money, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Next, I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of a temporary staff for the municipal building cleaning
Through December 31st?
through
Yep.
December 31st, 2016.
I'll second it.
I think we all know what that is. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Motion carried, thank you.
Next, I'll make a motion to approve checks 32539 through 32596 in the amount of $281,232.14.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to pay the checks. Questions? Roll call.
Gage,
Here.
Henderson,
Aye.
Lepke, Dusty.
Aye.
4 ayes, all ayes.
Motion carried, thank you, Keith. Police and Fire, Mike's not here, but there's no action. Public Health, Shane's not here. Keith, you want to take that one?
Sure. So I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2016-1 driveway width and appeals. in that one, we just basically defined it by a percentage and took away the footage part of it. That was
Yep.
the change that, we came about, and Patrick had a nice little drawing for us to help us out.
I'm glad to hear it. It was nice and helpful. Yeah, so there's two standards for dimensions for driveways, as Mr. Nadowski mentioned. When we have a single 2-lane or 3-lane residential driveway, it was a maximum of 24 feet or 30 feet, depending on how wide you would go. So it'd be maximum of 24 feet or a certain percentage of your front yard. And you will remember that we had an appeal come through here, because the other aspect of the driveway ordinance is that any appeal was set to come through the city council. So there are two things there. One is to erase the maximum foot dimension and just go with a percentage of your front yard covered. I believe it's 15%, 22 and 27%,
33. Okay, 33.
27 and 33.
Yep, 15,
That's right.
27, 33.
And then, so again, a maximum width of 30 feet then would be erased from the books. Just, all you'd go off as a percentage of your front yard. And the drawing we talked about was, we figured out square footage of certain front yards and then showed what certain driveways would look like in different capacities, how much of a front yard they would cover. And then if someone would look to appeal or exceed those, that percentage, rather than come to the city council, the change is to go to the zoning board of appeals, which is a more appropriate, I'll say impartial citizen board that's set up for these types of things. Does that make sense?
That makes
It's written
sense.
in the ordinance?
Makes sense.
And I'll second all of that.
Motion made seconded to approve ordinance 2016-1. You want a roll call of that?
Yes, yes. We can waive the reading unless somebody would like to read the ordinance.
You just explained it all.
You just explained it, that's
Okay.
fine.
The next one will be quicker, I promise, super quick.
Yeah.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Gage,
Aye.
Licky,
Aye.
and Nadowski.
Aye.
Motion carried with 4 ayes.
All right, next I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2016-2, turf protection on public property.
I'll second that.
And basically that one says no digging, and any opportunities to use a metal detector should go through the city administrator for the changes.
Right, yeah, currently you've got to go through the recreation committee to get approval, and the thought was in an emergency situation, somebody loses a ring, it's just probably set up better that the city administrator or designee have that ability to approve. And we did have a discussion about how likely it is that anybody would be allowed to dig in the park, and it would probably highly discourage.
Okay, any other questions? I'll take a roll call back.
Nadowski,
Aye.
Gage,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Carried with 4 ayes.
Thanks, Gates. Recreation Committee, Nick.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with Weyauwega County to host the Weyauwega Senior Meal Site with recommended changes.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agreement with the county to host the senior meals. Any questions?
The recommended changes are that,
Were they-
maybe to start,
Are they already in the document that's on
they
there?
are, the
They are.
document you have in your packet is with the
Okay, so I already read
changes.
through it.
They're the highlighted
Yep.
ones.
Yeah.
So the county corporation council's reviewed it, it's essentially the model agreement for every, senior meal site through the county. City Attorney Kelly has reviewed it, made some recommendations. Basically what we're looking at is the community room, would be rented or leased out by this program from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday, for senior meal programs. It looks like the rental would start November 1st of this year, but it might be a week or two before they actually start because they have to get it approved at the county too. The rental amount that they will pay is $350 a month. Right now, that's the amount that they're paying at the Presbyterian Church, so they would keep that the same. When it comes to the recommended changes, the changes were brought at committee under review. There was a comment in there that the city would pay all utilities, but the county is agreeing to pay the phone bill. And so the change was that we would pay all utilities except for the phone bill. And some of the utilities we have here are already offered, like the internet and those types of things aren't an extra cost to us. And so we're gonna give them the ability to hook in. They won't be in our network, but they'll be on the internet and those types of things. The other change was that there were 2 references to a potential cancellation of the agreement. One was, it said either party could give 30 days notice to terminate the agreement, which is what is held up by this committee and has been relayed to the county. The other comment in there was that either party had the ability to say by November 1st that they were locking in for the next year, but that's been reduced because either party has 30 days, so that November 1st date really has no significance at all. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Down F, public property, Richard.
No action for council.
Planning Commission has no action for council. Keep track of where I am here.
New business.
You want to see second page?
Yeah.
They have a recommendation on there for approval.
All right, we're on number 7, new business. Consider operator license for applications for Ben Clausa, Hannah O'Brien, Taylor Gray, Brittany Cookroot, Tim Dietzen, and Kelly Reckel. We'll do them all in one shot.
If that's your desire, yeah.
They've all been checked and approved.
They're all, I believe, recommended for approval by the police chief.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve all the license applicants as listed in the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve operator's license. No questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. B, video presentation.
Question for you. We have a video, the council had viewed this 2 years ago. The League of Wisconsin Municipalities Mutual Insurance had given us an $800 premium credit for the council to watch this 2 years ago. Because of the audio snafu we have in here, we had Heartland here today. The video will run clear on my laptop, but because we're catching audio off of my laptop, there's a little bit of a lag in connecting to the presentation system. We have the DVD loaded. It's about 14 minutes if you'd want to watch it. It's up to you guys.
Or we just hold it till everything works.
We gonna get another $800 for watching it?
I don't believe we will, but we did get $800 on the front end, so.
It's a good video to watch. I mean, I don't mind holding it. My only fear is that, well,
We've held it a couple months.
we moved in May and we still,
So the big discussion here is, it's a lot of, and Nick, you'll remember, you've seen it, it's a new council member getting on board, hypothetical city in Colorado with a established mayor, and they have a back and forth on what appropriate roles are. Now, they do stop quite a bit and they'll lay out, verbiage on the screen when there's important points, but a lot of it is kind of back and forth. And a lot of the video is actually background. It's somebody narrating over the top of people in meetings, and so the audio is really kind of irrelevant to what's really going on in the video. If you want to watch it, I mean, we can load it up. It's no problem. It's up to you guys.
You really want to watch it.
well,
Well, we got 2.
I don't mind holding it, but I do think it's important to watch.
Yeah. So can we plan it for next month when we have
We can do that.
hopefully we have everybody here too.
Well, we'll have, for certain, the problem with the audio is that it's going to get fixed tomorrow morning,
Okay.
but that doesn't help us
Yeah.
No.
today. Interesting conversation on that earlier today, but yeah, I mean, we can skip it, that's fine, we can hold off on it.
I just feel given everything that's going on nationally,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
a video on ethics would not be a bad thing to watch.
Yep. No, it's very good, it's got very good points too, so that's,
Okay. We'll hit it next month.
Perfect.
Mayor's report.
Mayor's report. Right now, I guess I haven't got much. We got quite a bit to go here, but I am real happy with some of the stuff that's going on. We were gonna bring up that contract with Mill Pond Circle and with our plow truck, and also with the movement we've got on our last comments about cleaning up or doing something with the properties that aren't following our ordinances, and along with the city doing some jobs cleaning up some of the places where we were mixed. I'm getting a lot of comments out of it, and they're always good comments. Other than the one guy said he couldn't cut his lawn because it rained that day, and he hadn't cut it in 3 months. I don't know what he was talking about, but. Other than that, that's about all I got. I appreciate all the help we get here. Patrick?
On my report, like I mentioned with the treatment plant, we're getting down to the very end with that construction project. You'll probably see the final pay request come through in November. But for all intents and purposes, pretty much everything is done there. A lot of movement has happened on the City Hall building as well. The point we got to here in trying to get a lot of the punch list items done was that we haven't had a pay request on City Hall probably in 2-3 months. And so for a lot of the subcontractors to keep finishing their work, a lot of them like to get paid as well. So I do appreciate that we approved the pay app tonight. We are holding $115,000 on that contract yet. And so that's enough to make sure that a lot of these punch list items are going to get completed. I do appreciate everybody approving everything tonight as usual, but the senior meal contract is going to be a very big thing because while we didn't build this building for that, that was definitely a very large part of the discussion when we designed the community room. That's going to be a very good thing to get that moving. And I don't mean to jump ahead, but I also do appreciate the vote that'll be had tonight on that potential settlement agreement with Weyauwega Estates. That'll be a very good thing as well. And for right now, a lot of the staff work has been on getting the budget pulled together because in October is usually when we do the review. And I do appreciate the mayor's comments on comments in town. We have been cutting grass for people. We've been doing some cleanup for people, and public works staff and the police department staff. We didn't get together and talk about garbage at the curb. How can we dispose of it for people? Probably bill them for that service. A lot of people have hot tubs, mattresses. When we get them to pull it away from the curb, usually it ends up next to the house, so it doesn't really solve the problem. So we've been working on solutions for that. Done a lot with weed cutting, weed spraying. Got a lot of trees that are getting cut in town, so there's a lot that's been in the works, but a lot is moving as well. So I do appreciate everybody's support on all those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Our police chief's report, he's not present. So jump over that one, set the meetings for October calendar.
Public Works and Finance is set for October, is it October 5th? Or the
10th.
10th.
Oh, sorry, wrong month. Okay, October 10th, yep. Public Works still at 6:30 with Finance at 7:30, so.
Yep.
Police and Rec,
On the 11th?
Yep. Rec at 6:30, police after.
Rec at 6:30,
Yes.
okay. City Council is on the 17th at 6:30. And we will have to do a plan commission.
For sure. Did we say ordinance? I'm sorry, I skipped over that.
No,
Like
I'm
we're
sorry.
looking at the,
Ordinance.
usually we're looking at 3 o'clock,
Yeah, that's fine.
the same day as Finance, Public Works is the 10th.
Fine with that as long as you're good with it, Rich.
We can verify with the chair of the committee too. She's not here right now, so.
Yeah, that's
officers will wanna do it.
Okay.
Planning commission's usually on a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, what is it, second Wednesday or the first? It's been a while.
it's been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have public works and finance.
I think it
We used
was
to have more in that first week, but we kind of
Yeah.
pushed everything the second week
Yeah.
now of the month.
Either the first or second.
Does it have to go before anything else for discussion wise?
No, no, just before the council.
Just, yeah.
Well, Jack, you're chairman of that one.
Yep, it's whatever day you got open, put it down. I'll make sure I'm here.
Well,
I'd say the fifth.
We'll
It's
do-
tentatively put down for Wednesday the fifth.
Yeah, we'll do it for 5th right now, and we will check with, the citizens that are on there too.
Yep,
Okay,
that'll work.
got them all? I got a comment I got asked, as long as we're talking about scheduling. Tom Cullen, Fire Chief, asked me yesterday if it was at all possible, if we would consider changing our council meeting night to a Tuesday instead of Mondays. And he's got some pretty good valid reasons there, because we got Rich on the fire department, we got Brandon. He says, you got my Class A men not coming to fire training, and he said, I don't know. He said, I know it's been probably forever on Monday, but he says, I appreciate it if you'd think about it and talk it over. If the possibility is there, he would appreciate it. So kind of kick that around and see what you think, and maybe we'll bring it up one of these days. Thank you. All right, such other matters as authorized by law. Anybody else got anything? I'll take a motion to move into closed session pursuant to 19.8.
We have to go to closed session for this one? Yeah.
We should, yeah.
Oh,
And in case you have questions
oh,
about the
okay,
details of it.
okay.
Conferring with legal counsel for a governmental body was rendering oral or written advice concerning to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation which is likely to become involved. The reason for this closed session is to discuss parameters, potential resolution of a performance penalty on Weyauwega Estates development. The council may choose to reconvene in session at the completion of closed session in order to take action on these items from closed session. We got a motion.
I'll make a motion to go in closed session.
Motion made and seconded to go in closed session. Roll call.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Linkey, Nadowski,
Aye.
Gage.
Aye.
Motion carried with 4 ayes.
7:32.
All right, we'll go to
Item 14 then.
this
number
person
14, resolution 587, authorizing and approving settlement agreement between mutual release between the city of Weyauwega and Weyauwega Estates LLC and the purchase of real estate under the terms and conditions of such agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 587 and waive the reading.
I'll second. Oh, Rich will second.
Rich, want to get on the board?
Yeah, we'll get Rich on there.
Let Rich get his name in the book.
Yeah.
You want a roll call on that?
We can, just very briefly, we do have a copy of the resolution out there, the settlement agreement. We did go through, and this is for the record on the video. Last December, we did approve an $80,443 development performance penalty. Essentially, the agreement that we signed with Weyauwega Estates back in 2001 required that 64 residential units would be completed in the first 10 years. 53 of those units were completed. It was 11 short. That agreement also specified that there would be a $7,313 penalty per unit, comes to $80,443. City Council voted to approve that December 16th of last year, but we knew that the actual assessment of that charge wouldn't be until November of this year. So we did have a window to negotiate a potential settlement. We did go to mediation, which was authorized by the City Council on September 7th. As a result of that mediation, the settlement that is being proposed is that 21 of these single-family lots out in the Mill Pond Circle neighborhood would be sold or would be purchased by the city for $230,000. The settlement was signed contingent on the city council's approval. This resolution, if approved, would ratify that settlement agreement. We would also be looking at closing on the sale of that land by November 30th. And that development agreement from 2001, for all intents and purposes, then would be dissolved moving forward. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Roll call.
Nadowski,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Gage,
Aye.
Lidke.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you very much.
Now you want to go into closed session again, huh?
Yep.
Closed session pursuant to 1985 Wisconsin statute, consider evaluation of employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation, data of any city employee who is subject to the jurisdiction and authority of the council. The reason for this closed session is review goals of performance evaluation processes for administrator and police chiefs. This committee may choose to convene into open session at the completion of the closed session and take action on the order.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to go in closed section. Roll call.
Nadowski,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Gage,
Aye.
Lidke.
Aye.
7:53.